Hi, my name's Dennis Kiley, and I'm founder and president of the EcoPsychology initiative. I've been thinking recently about humans' relationship with change, and more specifically, the cyclical, circular nature of life. This came up for me initially when I was working outdoors with a client in early July, and he commented that he never wanted summer to end. I could empathize with where he's coming from. There's a lot to like about summer. There's boat rides and barbecues, flowers and fresh vegetables, swimming and sunshine. And yet recently, we've been enveloped by a huge amount of heat and humidity in North America. And I've heard so many people comment that they're sick of summer. They want it to be done. They can't wait for fall. It's too hot. And I'm reminded that just as there are things we love about every season, there are also challenges, things we don't like as much, adversity and discomfort. And regardless of whether you love summer or hate it, fall is soon upon us, as these leaves around me are starting to indicate. Change is always happening. The world is cycling and turning, shifting and moving in its seasonal and circular patterns. And so again, whether you like it or not, it happens. What we're interested in at the EcoPsychology initiative is what are people's relationships with these changes? And not just the changes of seasons, the moon, tides, sunlight, which we see every day in the natural world, but the changes, the circular fashions that humans encounter more readily on individual and collective levels. Whether that is political parties that come into power or change and replaced by those on the opposite spectrum, whether it's economic periods of growth or stagnancy or recession, whether it's social ideas that are really popular and in the fad for a while only to be replaced by those of completely different ideology. And it's not just collectively. Individually, we have phases and periods in our relationship where there's love, everything's going well, it's easy, followed by times where there's conflict, adversity, and disconnection. We have emotions that move cyclically as well. Not to mention at work, everything's going great and we can't get a break. And so we're wondering, how do humans relate to these? And what we find is that usually when things are going well, we cling, we hold on to it. We never want it to change, the holding. And yet conversely, when things are hard, we catastrophize. It ruins our mood. Everything's horrible. We fight, resist, we do everything to hope things will change or get over very quickly. And wondering really how healthy is that? If you've ever tried stopping the tides or the seasons, you know that it doesn't actually work very well. In part, this is because the range of whether it's seasons or emotions or the phases of life, that these are natural, they're healthy, there's a diverse flow and range to them. Furthermore, we know that psychologically, spiritually, the more we fight and resist, the more we crave for one thing or have aversion to another, we cause our suffering, we cause our inner struggle. And this is really problematic. It adversely affects our mental, emotional, physical health and well-being, and no one wants that. Furthermore, we lose sight of the fact that the whole range of experiences, and let's just take emotions as an example, they're healthy, they're positive, we need them. If any of you have seen the movie Inside Out, you know that it does a wonderful job of talking about the benefit of sadness. So yes, of course, we all love joy and love and gratitude. And yet we also need to remember that the challenging emotions, fear, shame, sadness, loss, they also have something to contribute. Because every experience we encounter, every season, every chapter we go through, there's lessons to learn that we can use to further our growth, our healing, our evolution. And when we resist that, when we fight against it, whether individually or collectively, we cause very real problems. So look at what the world is facing right now. Environmentally, we're continually causing exploitation and destruction. Economically, we're trying to go on a straight linear curve of growth, GDP increases. All these things are not necessarily healthy, natural, or normal. And furthermore, the more we fight towards that, the more we resist the circular nature of things, the more that there's very real problems. So what do? Maybe we can learn from our experiences. Life, as we said, moves in these periods and seasonal shifts. And I would say that many of these struggles we're encountering right now are precisely because we haven't learned from our history. We haven't learned from that which has happened in previous chapters. So we would do well now in times of adversity and discomfort to say, what can we learn? How can we use this to further heal and grow so that when we circle back around, when we revisit similar seasons, we're in a better place? For many of you, that might seem too much. Sometimes life feels so hard that it's all we can do to get through it. And in which case, what do? At the EcoPsychology initiative, we have an expression called nature knows the way. Look to nature for guidance. Some of the core lessons from our planet are adaptation, change, going with the flow, bend but don't break. So let's apply that wisdom, those ideas, to when life is really hard, when challenges push us to our very edges of like, how can we go with the flow? Doesn't mean we have to like it, doesn't mean that it's easy or comfortable or even that we want more of it. But it's when we resist, we try and control or fight or hold on to something, that we perpetuate our struggle, that we don't get as much learning and lessons as we possibly can. So as we move forward from here, how can we learn from this plant? How can we learn from the seasons? If you're in a period internally or externally of summer or snow, try to enjoy what's there. Maybe it's sunshine, maybe it's skiing. Whatever it is, embrace it, but also know that there's adversity. There's trade-offs to every season, and don't try and resist those either. And instead, what can you learn from it? How can we learn from every season that we face, internally and externally, to grow to be our highest and best self? So like these trees that are moving into fall here, embrace the summer, grow, expand, but then don't resist when cold comes, when there's water, when there's precipitation or snow. And in that way, we all become our best version as ourselves individually and as a society. So here in this season now, I say season's greetings, best wishes to you, and happy to be in community